95.9 KCKL. Good morning to you, East Texas. I'm John, and I am here with Brett and Shai from Caldwell Banker. How are you guys doing today?
We're always great.
Doing pretty good.
So, you guys are changing it up a little bit on us. Today.
Yeah, we're going to start with some properties to start out.
The reason Shai sounds a little quiet is because I forgot the Elvis mic today.
Yeah, no Elvis mic for me to do my pose on and really get into it.
I'll probably run out and grab it for you.
Okay, that'll be fine. That'll be cool. All right, what properties we got, Brett?
Well, today I want to start off at 102 Doe Ring Bay, and this is over in Wood Canyon Waters, which is Payne Springs there. It's a Maybank School District. It's a large 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath home. Almost 3,000 square feet there. Floor-to-ceiling windows in the living room, wood-burning fireplace, a newer roof and paint, and RV hookups on this place. It is a great view of open water there for only $469,000.
Yeah, that's a good one to check out. What else you got?
Today we got at 129 Briarwood Drive over in Tanglewood. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home. Recently remodeled inside and out. It's got a large deck and on the boathouse for views of that open water for only $274,900. That's also in the Maybank School District there.
Yeah, getting in the Maybank School District and on the waterfront in that price range. Yeah, that's one worth taking a look at.
Mm-hmm. And I got one more I want to tell you about real quick over at 165 Santa Maria in Delmar. 3-bedroom, 3-bath, almost 2,200 square foot home. An open design with a huge upstairs room, covered rear deck, and a nice yard for $299,000. That's 2 waterfront homes under $300,000.
Yeah, and in this day, in this market, that you can get a good waterfront home under $300,000. Those are good buys. Those are good buys. What else you got going around the area, Brett?
Well, it's been a great week with the rain keeping the temperatures down a bit and the lake full. But the biggest thing happening this week in the area was the Know Your Impact conference over here at Maybank. I personally attended the conference yesterday, and they had over 600 teachers from 50 different school districts. And I just like to see that because that's teachers taking their time to continue their education to make sure that they can provide the best education for our children out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, school districts are an important part in a lot of people's home buying decision. Knowing that their kids are going to get that quality education, the quality care they need from their educators, and part of that comes from having school districts that care about keeping up with the continuing education of the educators. Because you don't just one time know it forever. You gotta keep up with it over the course of their career. And the local school districts are doing a lot of good things for keeping that going for our teachers.
Yeah, and another good thing for these teachers right now is if they're interested in purchasing property, there are good programs out there, both in lending and the housing market, to help them, assist them with some of these programs to help teachers get into a home.
Yeah, on top of just the regular already great rates, the low interest rates, the first-time home buyer incentives, some of the zero down, some of the zero at signing programs. There are extra things that are exclusive just to educators, whether you're high school or I guess I'd say public education, like your local independent school districts, or you're a teacher at a community college or trade school or university. Any of those capacities, there's great programs for you. So they just give you a call and they'd find out, get in touch with a good lender through you, and you'd get them working on that program.
Yeah, we can get them started on their way to purchasing a home.
Okay.
But going back to, we started off with a few waterfront properties, and so we want to kind of talk about that a little bit today. And one of the biggest things that people may not know about in our area is who is in charge of all this water and what goes on, and that's the Tarrant Regional Water District. But what is it that they do?
Yeah, our reservoir here, we call it a lake a lot of times. Technically, it's a reservoir. It's reserving water for public use. This one is owned by Tarrant Regional Water District. Some of the other lakes around the area are under the Dallas Water Utilities. They're actually putting in what they're calling the IPL, the integrated pipeline, that's tying together those systems so they can manage the water back and forth more effectively, more efficiency. But Tarrant Regional Water District, it's just what it says, it's Tarrant County. This lake was built back in the mid-1960s for the purpose of being a reservoir of water to provide potable drinking water to the residents of Tarrant County. So that's their main purpose. That's who they are. They're from Tarrant County, and they're trying to get water to drink up there.
Mm-hmm. So everything that they do, from their regulations to their ongoing, their oversight, you might see their vehicles out and about sometimes, is to make sure that the water is safe, enjoyable, and fair for not only the people that are turning on their faucets there in Fort Worth, but also our people who enjoy the lake here.
Yeah, one of their their biggest priority is protecting this body of water. When you're talking about the Tarrant Regional Office over this lake, they work in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers, which is just what it sounds. It's a group of engineers within the U.S. Army that work to put this thing together and manage it. And one of their top priorities, if not their top priority, is maintaining a quality control on that lake. Maintaining the dam so that it stays intact, regulating the spillway so that the lake doesn't get too full, or if it's starting to drop down too low, that it doesn't drop out too low. They shut the gates, they open the gates back and forth. But also to protect that water supply, because they want it to be safe whenever you turn on the tap, whether you're in Tarrant County or with the integrated pipeline, if you're in part of the Dallas Water Utilities District and you're sharing that water, or if you're one of the many local municipalities that pulls their drinking water supply from that body of water, they want to make sure when that tap is turned on, that water is safe. They also want to make sure it's enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
So we use water for lots of things, not just put it in a glass and take a swig, but all types of activities around everything from just our personal and our residential to commercial and industrial and things like that. So they got to make sure that whatever capacity that thing can be used in an enjoyable sense by all. Whether it's turning on the tap, using it for something at your house, or since they do extend the privilege for people to go out there on their boats, swim in the lake, fish in the lake, boat in the lake, they want it to be as enjoyable as can be. But also they want it to be fair to everybody. They don't want to say, so-and-so over here, because they know so-and-so or this or that, one set of rules applies to them, but you over here, we're going to have this other set of rules for you. They publish a set of rules for, say, like in our instance, talking about real estate. If you're going to build a boat dock or put in a retaining wall or have any type of structure below that 325 flood line, they have a published set of rules, correct?
Yeah, everything that does fall below that 325 line is what the rules pertain to in our area.
Yeah.
And that could be from everything from your boat dock, your retaining wall, your irrigation systems.
Yeah, everything. They're going to have this, they have these rules. They're published on the Tarrant Regional Water District website, TRWD.com. And so you'll probably want to take a gander over these. Well, part of what they're doing, if you're going to build a boat dock and a retaining wall, they want to make sure that in doing that, you don't negatively affect that water supply. And that you building your boat dock, you're on the same guidelines as your neighbor down the street and the neighbor next to him and his neighbor and their neighbor and the other neighbor and the other neighbor. Well, in doing so, over the years, certain regulations have become a little bit stricter in this sense. They've added in this to accommodate for the new building codes, new building materials, things like that. So these rules have developed in fairness to everybody, and in doing so, they let people get used to them. But now certain rules that have been in place for many years are starting to get enforced, and it's actually a good thing. But what you're going to want to be sure you do is if you're doing any type of activity below that 325 line, building or maintaining that boathouse, that retaining wall, any type of structure, you want to be sure that you get a qualified and capable contractor or construction or electrician, plumber, whoever, because there's specific paperwork that needs to be filed. I know we all love paperwork. So you got to be able to they got to be able to fill out the forms. They've got to have certain insurances. They've got to be capable of doing the work. They got to have their licenses. And so you want to be sure that you have somebody that knows how to do that, so that you don't get halfway through a building project and then Tarrant Regional, out of all fairness, has to stop your project.
Yeah, these contractors can help ensure and help walk you through the process to make sure that any of these items, like your irrigation system, your boat houses, are safe for you and your company and for your neighbors.
Yeah, because there's many things to a boathouse. For instance, one of the more readily visible is the if you're using wood, like many of them do, you want to be sure that the wood is not just going to come loose in a storm willy-nilly and just float around on top of the lake, because if I was out there riding a jet ski, I don't want to hit a 20-foot 2x6 at 30 miles an hour on a jet ski. There goes the enjoyment factor of the lake. That's down there.
That's just not fair.
That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not safe. Other things, the electrical. Most boat docks have electrical. I guess all of them actually would now, because you have to have the safety light at the end of it. And there's updates to electrical code, and that's being enforced with the 4-wire system, like waterproof lights and switches on there, to make sure you're dealing with electricity over water.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Speaking of the water too, is most people, one of the big advantages they have is their irrigation systems that they use to water their lawns and their flower beds and things to make their homes look pretty, especially when they're trying to sell them. But you want to make sure that this wiring is updated so it's safe and it doesn't cause any problems with your irrigation systems as well.
Yeah. I know that with sprinkler irrigation, we're wanting to, we think, it's simple, I put the straw in there, suck it out, spray it on the plants. But when we put that boat dock pump down there, you're dealing with a combination of electricity coupled with water, and you are taking water out of that lake that's going to be thrown up on the lawn, and eventually because most of these hillsides go back down in the lake, it's going to cycle that water a little bit back and forth. So you want to be sure that you have a licensed, insured irrigator to deal with any of those issues you have with your sprinkler system below that 325 line, or above it, really, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. If they have any more questions, get some help and more answers about what they could do to get in contact with Tarrant Regional Water District, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, if they wanted to get a hold of me, Shai, my phone number is 903-340-6159. And how do they get a hold of you, Brett?
As always, 903-340-6301.
Yeah, or give our office a call today at 903-887-7055. We're not by any means, we're not Tarrant Regional ourselves, but we'll be more than happy, any of our qualified realtors, to get you in touch with the people at Tarrant Regional Water District and with the contractors who you need to do the work appropriately and get you taken care of on your waterfront property.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Steal the Elvis mic back.
Oh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, get a hold of them if you need it. Any questions about real estate, really?
Anything.
Get a hold of them, and you are listening to 95.9 KCKL. We will be right back with some more great country music.
5-9.